Hello, I'm Harry from CREAT-ED, and we're working in partnership with KSU Community and Professional Education, running a number of live online short courses. And we're here with Nicole Russo, who's going to be leading and teaching on commercial songwriting. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Nicole, we're delighted that you're leading on this course, and I know you've delivered this course in many formats over the years. But tell us a little bit first about who you are and how you've developed as a writer and an artist.
So I am essentially a singer-songwriter who started out as a backing vocalist, if you can believe that, when I was 13 years old on my way to school and just stopped into a recording studio and put my name on a message board. And from there, I mean, I'd already been playing piano for 10 years. By that point, I started very young playing the piano. And tinkering around with writing songs and poetry, and that's really where it all began for me, was watching my dad perform from the side of the stage and just wanting to do what he did. So that was my big motivation, and learning the piano then gave me that power to start making my own music. And from there, it was really about finding the people who I found inspiring to work with, finding other musicians who loved the same music as me. I never really wanted to be a songwriter completely on my own, locked away. I I would get really bored of myself. So I loved that kind of interactive side of songwriting. I loved collaborating. And I've had some amazing collaborations over the years. I've been very blessed. And of course, with every collaboration you learn. You learn new skills, you learn something new about yourself, about other people, about how to deal with situations, and how to make your music better. So that was kind of the beginning of my journey, which led me to work with some great people. Commissioner Gordon, who worked mainly as producer on the on Lauryn Hill's Miseducation album. Dave Anthony did a lot of work with Janet Jackson, and then ultimately with the Brand New Heavies as the lead singer and songwriter with them.
That's amazing. Thank you. And tell us a bit more about the course that you've written. What will you be covering? What can students expect on this live online course on commercial songwriting?
I mean, this is a really great way to look at songwriting for those times when you are in a studio, it's being paid for, you're under pressure for some reason. Maybe it's a time that you've got to get the track done, or maybe it's because something's being paid for, there's expectations that you have to rise to. But it's in those moments sometimes where there's a lot of pressure, and the creative juices just aren't flowing, that we can come back and look at all of the ways that we break down that songwriting process. I start out by having the student really assess where they are now, where they are in their journey as a performer, as a songwriter at this point, and really getting to understand what brought them to this point and where they are now. Because it's really important to know where we are to then really fully understand what it's going to take for us to get to where we want to get to. And so, identifying their use of language, identifying why they came to this path of being a creative, being a songwriter. Is it because they need to express themselves? Is it because, the various reasons it could be? So, who are you? Why did you come to love music? What are your strengths at this point? And what is it you want to improve on? And so that's really the starting point. And from there, then we look at all the various tools that we have within the songwriting process. We have language, we have rhythm, we have schemes, rhyme schemes, we have all kinds of ways that we can break down that process and then start to really identify and see, what am I doing in this process and what am I not doing in this process, just by the various tasks that I'll be setting.
Obviously, this is a live interactive class, so you've got people dialing in from different parts of the world who will obviously be able to share their music with you as well as listen to you and do group exercises and things together. And obviously, that's a very different environment, isn't it, from some of these other types of online learning where you're on your own and just watching some videos. So it's very exciting, isn't it, to do a live online environment? And I know you've got a lot of experience in that area, but tell us a bit more about some of that interactivity and feedback and feed forward in the course.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I love teaching this way. I think it's fantastic because I've done every kind of teaching you can imagine over the years, but actually teaching this way in terms of the live interactive, as you say, rather than just working with videos, they can ask questions, we can really get into it, but also the fact that people are in a comfortable environment, that they have a kind of a degree of separation makes people a lot more comfortable. And I've found a lot more willing to take risks. And, the people that do love the face-to-face interactions just kind of want to get in more, and they can sometimes be the ones that drive these lessons, especially if you've got sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 or more people at the same time all interacting together. um it's a very exciting way to work as well, because you're working with people from all over the world in completely different environments. So, some of what I teach is about looking at your environment. When you're trying to find inspiration, it's what's around you. What sounds, what's in your environment. Observing what's around you, and that can also just bring a really interesting dynamic that you would not have had if everybody was sat in the same room. In London, for instance. Not that there's anything wrong with that; it's great, but it is a very exciting way to work because it feels limitless and it feels like the possibilities are endless.
That's so true. And with it being a 12-week program with a class each week, there's this opportunity between classes for people to connect with each other, to follow challenges that you might give them, but to actually find new writing partnerships in some of the people that they might be studying with, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that because it's, as again, online, it in my experience anyhow, people have been more likely to kind of meet up, to connect, because it's easier. Because it's easier than, oh, you're going to be in the common room later, or are you going to, which is, again, I'm not trying to say anything negative about that, but it's just so much more convenient. People can just sort of be having a coffee. And one of the things that I teach in the course is, like, so often we think, oh, I don't really have the time to do a song today. I just don't have it. So I set challenges that really prove to my students that you can write a song in 5 minutes, and they may say, well, that was, throw it away. No, that 5 minutes was really valuable. You didn't think you could write anything, and maybe you only got a verse or a half a verse, or maybe you only got 2 lines, but they might be the best 2 lines you've ever written. And so, realizing how much you can do with very little is kind of, again, the whole thing about online teaching that's so great, because you could be having a coffee and think, let me just have a look, I've got 5 minutes to kill, and there might be someone else that's got 5 minutes to kill. And so, you can be a lot more productive that way.
And it's really interesting also to think that even before people started using Zoom and the internet and stuff, if you look at some examples of how musicians have worked who live in different parts of the world, I mean, take Outcast, for example, they began in Atlanta together, but after
Mm.
Andre moved to LA, they pretty much used email, sending each other different parts of work or music or lyrics between each other, and rarely, if ever, really got back in the studio together at the same time. And this preceded the whole sort of Zoom era by many years. So that's really interesting to see how this process is going to unfold. Who is who is this course designed for, Nicole, and what skills and attributes make a good student for your course? Do they have to have degrees in songwriting, or where do they come from, and what should they feel? I could do this course.
Really, it's really anybody that has the passion and the desire and the motivation to learn and to listen. That's it. A basic understanding of whatever your choice of DAW might be, whether that's Logic Pro, whether that's Pro Tools, whatever that might be, I think is really important, but not essential even. I mean, I would rather all the students had either Logic or Pro Tools or something that they could work on, because we can progress their ideas so much easier if they have that. However, I mean, I remember when when I began writing songs and recording, I think it was Cubase was the only thing that was really around, and it was very limited. I mean, it was incredibly limited. So often when I was writing, it was just, having a hand recorder and finding ways. I remember when I also moved my studio and I moved house and I was waiting for things to be shipped. And I thought, well, I've got nothing but a recorder and a wooden table, and a sofa. And I used that wooden table as percussion, and I ended up using my glasses to kind of use percussion for this. And to this day, it's one of my favorite recordings because it was something so beautiful and naive and earthy about it. So really, you can just have a wooden table and something you can record some audio on, and it can work. But obviously, it would be great if people did have a laptop so we can progress those ideas and develop them and really turn them into finished records. But it's not necessary.
Thank you. That's such salient advice, and I hope people are super inspired to come and join the course and develop their songwriting skills, but also their 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 personal skills, their aspirations, and their ways that they're inspired by things, whether that's their surroundings, the way they interact with other people, or the writing style, or the way in which they simply just like to communicate. How do you like to communicate, for instance? Some people write a book, or some people give a lecture, and other people write a song. So it's just human expression, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. It really is. It's truly about finding yourself. It's really finding meaning in the mundane. It's looking at life. It doesn't matter how boring a situation might be. You could be looking at a wall, but maybe the way the light's hitting that wall, something's beautiful about it. And that is what art's about. People want to live vicariously through music, through film, to feel things, to feel emotions from a safe distance. Really, that's why people love listening to music. They want to be moved, they want to be inspired, they want to be excited, they want to have fun, they want to feel something, necessarily that's going to take them away from their usual life. And so, yeah, this is what being an artist is about. It's really about who are you, and is that who you have to be, or would you want to experience more? Do you want to experiment more? Do you want to really learn how to open up your mind and see the world around you, and take more of that in, and make that a part of your palette, to add those extra tools to be able to express yourself more freely, more widely, and touch more people with what you feel and what you think and what your art is, whatever art may be.
Thank you so much. That's so inspiring to listen to, and I'm very excited to see the first cohort joining, starting, I believe, on the 4th of January. Nicole Russo, thank you so much for joining us. Take care.